10 months after an EF2 tornado destroyed a 180-year-old Algiers church, the congregation is asking for more financial help to rebuild. St. Mark Baptist Church stood on Wilts Lane as a beacon of faith in the Algiers community. But when the devastating force of the December 14th tornado flattened their house of worship, all that stood left was the welcoming signage. It's a message Pastor Lonnie Williams takes as a sign from God that his people are in good hands.
That gives us hope. And I believe that the Lord wanted that sign to say there to remind us that he's able to rebuild and restore. It's very, very expensive nowadays. Everything is higher, much. I've talked to some pastors who have built brand new churches. Things are way, way higher than what it was then. Way higher.
By rough estimate, Pastor Williams says the church needs about $270,000 to $300,000 more than what they've already recovered from insurance. If you would like to donate, you can find a link to the church's GoFundMe campaign under this story on our website.